up on that shit, on that pull up on that shit, on that pull up on that shit, on that pull up on that shit, on that G shit, G shit, pull up on that shit, on that G shit. Pull up on that shit, on that G shit. Pull up on that shit, on that 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 G shit, G shit, pull up on that shit, on that G shit.
Halo semuanya, selamat datang ke official virtual launching Denon DJ LC6000 Prime. Saya Saga dari Denon DJ Indonesia, dengan Afda dari Dance Signal, dan juga Matthew dari Denon DJ Pusat.
Hey.
Terima kasih bagi yang sudah meluangkan waktunya untuk datang. Kita akan mulai sebentar lagi. Sambil menunggu yang lain masuk, bagi yang sudah datang, boleh bantuin share ya linknya ke teman-teman DJ lainnya. Ya, ada. Hey Matthew, how's it going?
Hey Cigar, hey everyone. Hope everyone's doing good.
How are you? How was everything?
That sounds like everyone's good to me. Yeah, so it's all good over here, man. Thanks for having me. Well, your evening, my afternoon. So it's all good, man. It's all good. So yeah, we're gonna let's get stuck into the LC6000, shall we, Cigar? Should we do that?
Yeah. We're just gonna wait a few more moments.
Yeah.
Till everybody comes in. We have a few more guests coming in.
No worries, man. No worries.
Yeah. We have Agung. Hi, how are you? UD, DJ Hamnur, Ian Hamnur, sorry. Yose Rizal, how are you? Apanji, how are you? DSX as well, how are you? Bagi yang udah join, tolong ya share linknya ke teman-teman yang lain biar lebih banyak. Please share to the DJ community.
Already.
So ada gimana nih situasi kita nih? Over 50,000 cases, man.
We're good.
That's crazy, huh? How are you keeping up? How are you holding yourself mentally?
Well, I think it's about no more paranoia, no more negative thinking. We just have to live with it.
I agree, yeah. We have to keep positive thinking, yeah, at these times.
Yes, just don't be stressed. Just do your sport, do your eat, do your proper eat, clean your hand, wearing your mask wherever you are. So just be happy.
Have you washed your hands? All right, yeah. I think let's just keep positive, keep ourselves busy. I think it's a good time also to learn a new skill, right?
Yeah.
And stay creative.
Stay creative, exactly.
And the good thing is, Indonesia is #1 now over the world. Wow! It's a big achievement, right?
Yeah. I think as long as we're positive, we'll be able to get through this, right?
Yes. We have to do it. We have to spread the positivity. We have to spread the unity all together in one. We can do this.
How about you, Matthew?
Well,
there?
we used to be #1 about 6 months.
You beat you.
Yeah. So things are looking okay over here. As of next week, live events will happen again here. Hospitality industry is going to start opening back up.
Yeah.
Obviously, the vaccination program was quite rolled out quite heavily here. But yeah, things are obviously turning a corner. And like you said, man, you've just got to kind of live with it and realize that live with it in the way you have to live with other illnesses, things like that. It's now just part of the crew.
Yeah.
And just make sure you look after yourself, most importantly.
Yeah. Stay healthy. Stay positive. I think what's more important right now is like keeping mentally healthy, right?
Yeah, definitely. I think, especially like you mentioned before, there's so many ways. If you're already a DJ or producer, anything like that, you can just, like I said with DJ, it's the time to sort out your library, get it, sort some new things into your, skill set. If you never knew how to scratch, you've got a perfect time to learn how to scratch now. You're a producer, finish off those tracks, and not just finish them off, get them uploaded as well. Don't just finish them, do the rest of it as well. So that's kind of what I've been trying to do as well.
Yeah. All right, I think we have everyone in. Let's start. Sekali lagi, halo semuanya, selamat datang ke official virtual launching Denon DJ LC6000 Prime. Saya Sagar dari Denon DJ Indonesia dengan Ahda dari Dan Signal dan juga Matthew dari Denon DJ Pusat. Sebelum kita mulai, I want to give a special shout out to our sponsors. Karena untuk pertama kalinya dengan bantuan sponsor kami bisa live streaming di 9 platform pada saat yang sama. So thank you very much Doms DJ, DaBeatmasta DJ School, Dan Signal, DSX Enigma DJ Academy, Electromagnetix, EMX TV, House of DJ, the Master DJ and Music Production Store, and Little MIDI Store. Thank you for your support.
Thank you.
And thank you. Terima kasih juga bagi semuanya yang udah luangkan waktu. Wow, we have a lot of suddenly jump the number, huh? Terima kasih juga bagi semuanya yang sudah luangkan waktu untuk hadir.
Because I just posted.
Oh, nice. It is climbing like crazy. Thank you so much, guys, for coming in, taking your time to enjoy the stream. And don't forget, pada akhir acara, kita akan ada quiz dan giveaway eksklusif Denon DJ merchandise.
Ya.
Nah, bagi yang punya pertanyaan atau bila ada yang kurang jelas, langsung aja komen, gak usah malu-malu, hajar terus aja ya.
Alright.
Berikutnya, I will hand it over to you, Matthew.
Great.
Untuk kupas abis LC6000 Prime, Matthew, the stage is yours.
Indeed. I love it, man. It's all good. Thanks, guys, again. And thanks to all the sponsors. And again, Denon DJ Indonesia, Little MIDI Store. So let's do this. So as you can see right now, I'm running my LC6000 here with the X1850 and the SE6000M. But that's like one of many stories that you can tell with this product. So the pure kind of root idea of this product is the second layer control for your SE. It could be an SE6000, 6000M. It could be even the 5000 as well. And even something like the Prime 4 in Serato mode. But we'll come on to Serato things a little bit later. So right now, I've just got in the most simplest setup here. LC6000, USB out into the hub of my SE6000M. And of course, for those of you familiar with the Prime series, you'll know that dual layer was always a big kind of thing that made the Prime series stand out. Now, it was always a thing with Denon products. We had things like alpha tracks back in the day, but the dual layer system here is a real new way of thinking of it. And you can use dual layer in many ways. You could use it for simply mixing on one deck. You could use it for assigning your second layer to acapellas, loops, sample chops, things like that. But for people who are kind of jumping on board with Prime, a lot of people were buying a one mixer and a player and thinking, I'll just use the one layer, or the two layers, I should say. And now you've got the option to expand here with a dedicated controller. I mean, speaking as myself, someone who works for the company, I got very good at going between the layers and mixing on one player. But then obviously when you add a dedicated piece of hardware, you go, of course, this is the sort of traditional way that I'm used to. But if we just sort of look at the hardware, you'll see it's pretty much the 6000 almost kind of cut in half without the screen. What we have here is the same jog wheel from the SE6000. You've got your needle search now in place of the screen. So if we look on the screen on my left here, you can see I'm scrubbing through the track on the bottom waveform here. Now, as soon as you plug this into your SE, we immediately jump to dual layer mode. So there's no setup that you have to do. And then beyond that, obviously, you've got all of the familiar pad modes and buttons that you have with the rest of the LCs, the SEs. So you've got your hotkeys, your loops, roll, your slicer, your auto loop mode, obviously your 100mm pitch fader, vinyl mode, sync on and off, and then wheel adjust as well. But also, we've got dedicated browsing now here. Of course, I can still come back to the screen and choose a track and put it in layer B. But what I can also do now is if I use this encoder here, you can see I've got dedicated browsing for the second layer. So not only can I swipe and have it loaded into deck B, but control the whole deck from here. I can also browse. And as soon as I load it, it's dedicated browsing for that deck. Now, as far as connectivity goes, I mentioned this earlier, it's a bus-powered unit, so it just runs from the USB power into the back of the SE. Again, that can be a 5000 or a 6000. So if you're an existing 5000 user, you can still utilize the LC6000. Now, there is a power option as well on the back, but you'll find that's only ever going to be used for iOS scenarios. So if you're going to be using this with Algorithm DJ, for instance, or maybe a situation where a particular kind of hub doesn't provide enough power, but that's very rarely in kind of, minimal settings, I would say. So
sorry, Matthew, you're saying you can actually use the LC6000 with the SE5000?
Yeah, so in terms of like the Prime universe, you can use it with the 6000M, the 6000, 5000 series as well. And a lot of people ask us about the Prime 4, if they could integrate it with, that kind of setup. Now, at this stage, you can only use it with the Prime 4 when the Prime 4 is running Serato mode. But again, if we get enough requests, the way the Prime system works, as you know, it's continual updates coming from the community as well. So something we probably may look at in the future.
Ya. Jadi guys, seperti kayak dulunya, menurut Pak Matthew, ini Prime series itu bisa diupdate terus, nanti akan ada OS update gitu.
Cool, yeah. So again, just a kind of quick tour of the unit again. So again, we've got all the same pad modes that we're used to here. So obviously I can have full control of the second layer, play my track, access to my loop rolls, my slicer modes. And
this is all royalty free, right? I mean, we're not gonna get banned, right?
Well, I said to Cigar before we started that I'm using my tracks. So this all exists in my head, all these tracks, as far as I'm concerned, But I'm going to keep music to a minimal, just so we know. And if you chop it up enough, you won't get done. Nice. I've noticed with Facebook, it's the stop-start method,
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Hopefully we don't get banned.
No. And of course, you've got, like I say, you mentioned you've got two modes. You've got the regular jog wheel, and then you've got your vinyl mode as well, depending on sort of how you DJ and whatnot. But again, you've got loop controls as well. You can see there. And the same applies for the LC. With the SC, a great feature is being able to move the loop bracket if you hold shift. And you can see just on the bottom waveform there, my loop bracket's moving as I hold shift So if I'm playing a track, if I run that down, and obviously I hit loop and I think, actually, that's not where I want to be. I hit loop and shift, and I can move the bracket along. Real simple, real simple. And that's kind of the LC in sort of prime world, really. Again, I'm just using it right now to go between two tracks. What I could do as well is, for example, the way I used to use the dual layer on the SE was to trigger like acapellas and things like that. So if I go to my house crate here, and again, we'll use the LC just to browse along here and then load in that track and then come back to the view here. So what you'll have essentially is a way of triggering like hot cues, loops, acapellas, things like that. But this time you've got a dedicated control. Now you're not going to be switching between the two layers on one player. So real simple. I can, have my instrumental going there and get really creative on here, essentially. And again, it's 1-for-1 for the SE. You've got all the same controls, manual loop in and out, sensor, reverse, beat jump, track skip, and it's a bus-powered unit as well. So plugs straight into the SE. And even when you're using control mode as well.
So you just plug in your USB cable from the LC6000 to that.
That's why we call it a performance enhancement controller, because this is not a standalone player. It is a complement to whether it's your Prime setup, Serato, Virtual DJ, or algorithm setup, essentially.
Okay.
Cool. At this point, do you have any questions, Cigar, or anything like that?
From my side, not yet.
Cool.
We
Yeah.
don't have any questions yet from the. Do we have any questions? Ada yang mau tanya? I think we can carry on.
Because I can talk forever about it. So let's have a look at some options here. So as you can see, if we think about kind of the combinations we can have with the LC, if you're an existing Prime user, you can see here we've got two SEs at the top, two LCs on the side. So dedicated control for the two layers on each separate player. And on the bottom there, you can see one player, as I'm running here, on the left, one player on the right. But again, that's half the story with the LC, because we have supported third party as well. Now, one example here could be you run your X1850 with two LCs into Serato or Virtual DJ or something like that. But it's not just limited to Denon DJ, because we're talking about Serato here. So you could run any Serato unlockable mixer, whether it's a Numark Scratch, Range 72, Range 70, 72 Mark II, or even a 4-channel Serato controller as well. So you can see there, any 4-channel Serato controller can have these two added either side of it. So on the software side, it opens it up massively.
Okay, so from what I can understand, that means you can use kind of any Serato DJ compatible controller.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, if we go back to that last image there, you can see it's just a kind of blank canvas there. But again, it could be, like I mentioned before, it could be the Prime 4 you use with the LCs, or it could be, again, any 4-channel Serato enabled controller. So if we take it back, we could use something like the MCX 8000, or the MC7000 or something like that. Any 4-channel Serato controller. It could be even something like a Mixed Track Platinum FX as well. You've got these deck controllers. Yeah, you've got these deck controllers to take full advantage of whatever your setup is. I've actually run some kind of interesting setups, and I've seen them done on a few people's Twitch streams as well, where you have the centerpiece was Prime 4, then an SE6000M, then an LC6000 off to the side, all running in Serato mode. Then halfway through, this one was switched to standalone mode. So you've got this crazy hybrid setup option. And again, like a lot of this gear that kind of pushes the boundaries, it's in the hands of the DJ. How creative can you be with it? How does it fit into your setup, essentially? That's the vibe. Yeah, when it comes to like Prime World, that is kind of the main sort of thing as well. But again, like I mentioned before, and I'll show you this later, as we all know, streaming is being taken more seriously, obviously, in the DJ world now. And particularly with Denon, we have access to all our different streaming platforms, Beatport, BeatSource link, SoundCloud, Tidal, and now Dropbox. In fact, guys, I'm actually playing off Dropbox right now, basically. So these are all just tracks in my Dropbox folder. I'm not even using a SD card or anything like that. But obviously now, with the integration with streaming, particularly with sort of, I would say, the entry-level products, you've got more things like algorithm taken seriously. So I'm just running it on my phone here. You can see there now. And I can tap and then run into Tidal and play tracks off Tidal straight onto the phone, essentially. And now I can do that using an LC as well, which I'll show you later. All it requires is your camera connection kit, the USB, and obviously the power in this instance is what you would need, basically. So I'll show you that. I'll show that later when there's a break in questions, and I can dig around and put the leads in, all that kind of stuff. Because you'll just see the top of my head if I do that now for about 2 minutes.
So
yeah,
my understanding is that you're saying that like the LC6000 is like a friends for all product. I mean, it's a friend to all DJ brands.
It's certainly in terms of Serato world, yes, because what you have is essentially a deck controller. For be it Serato use a virtual DJ or algorithm, and that's algorithm desktop and iOS as well. Algorithm, there's tons of hardware being supported every day, and it's quite a serious contender when it comes to the iOS-based things. But no, you're quite right. In the Serato world and virtual DJ world, absolutely, because it's seen as a Serato accessory. So whatever your hardware unlock system is, whether it's this mixer or another Serato mixer or a SL box or a DS1, something like that, it's going to play nicely with that as an accessory. Okay,
so it works with virtual DJ, and you said DJ Pro as well on the Mac as well, DJ Pro.
Yep. So desktop algorithm and iOS algorithm.
iOS as well. Okay.
So that's the vibe with the third party aspect of it all, really. And again, the way is quite simple.
How many LC6000 though can you connect to an iOS? I mean, you can only connect one, right? Or
yeah, it's dependent really on your, obviously right now with the camera connection kit, if I just run that here, you can see that's a one input kind of setup here. I've seen some people kind of have varying degrees of sort of success with certain hubs and things like that. Now, again, we don't officially support kind of any particular hub setup. It's a case of, it's a case of whatever works, but we don't have an official kind of way of saying we 100% recommend this hub. We always say, look, it's a deck controller. You can choose the decks from it by using deck select. So we would suggest that you go with that route. But again, for something like iOS, you can run the external mixer mode, or because it's zero latency, you can run, let's say, directly from the Lightning audio output into whatever your system is, basically.
So there's a possibility to run like four LC6000s, is it?
Yeah, I mean, potentially, if you look at the bottom screen there, there's quite a lot going on there. So it could be a case of, we run this alongside whatever your kind of supported setup is. Now, again, that's quite an extreme example, but I would like to think that, DJs being as creative as they are, it's a case of, we'd say go for it. However you want to run it is however you want it. But again, just to kind of note to the kind of user base is that, we don't have a particular sort of, hub setup that we'd say, hey, this works fantastic, or, we always recommend this. We've kind of designed this as like a, sort of one-stop shop for, if we're using particularly iOS, one-stop shop in terms of the, in terms of using one deck, because you can select 4 decks from the top of the LC6000. So it works very nicely in that respect, I would say.
Oh, so one LC6000 can control 4 decks.
That's correct, yeah. In control mode, yeah, you can see it's going to have the option. You can see deck select on the top of the screen. You would have seen it there in the intro video. But basically, yeah, you can select 4 decks. If I actually come back here, you can see I've just plugged it into algorithm, and you can just about see at the bottom there.
All right.
Okay. The deck select option. So if I just unlock that again, I can select, hey, deck 1, and now I'm in control mode for DJ, and I can just select a track. Let's go hip hop R&B, and then you've got control of it from the deck here, basically. Again, I'm doing you a favor here, Cigar. I'm not playing any audio. Because again, the great thing about streaming is I can search for anything from Tidal, basically.
Yeah.
It can be the curated playlist, the even beats, Beatport, the top 100 tracks, and I could literally just have a one deck setup here and just run through, going track to track, and I can even browse using the encoder here, so you can see I'm going through the tracks on Tidal. Now, if I hit Shift and Deck Select and press this second button, we're now controlling Deck 2. So let's go with this track here. And now I'm running full setup. Again, I can have many different ways to look at this. So again, I can just keep my control based around crossfader here on algorithm. I could run an external mixer mode. Again, I can just switch between the two decks and mix quite comfortably between the two tracks there. And again, still have control over the loops and the rolls and all that good stuff. So if I switch my view to waveform here now, you can see I've got my loops running just a little bit there. Let's get a little bit of volume there. Same goes for deck 2 as well. If we shift over to deck 2 and bang, like that, you can see I've got loop, roll, and slicer. So you've got a real versatile unit here. So this is just running it with a phone and one LC6000. And I could just run, like a splitter cable out and run the audio. But again, yeah, super powerful unit. That's why we call it, a performance enhancement controller. And again, you can see there, needle search works just fine. Going through the tracks there. I'm going to plug this back in to my SE. If I switch over my USB cables here, you'll be able to see it just light straight back up into dual layer mode. I think at this stage in my career, Cigar, I'm very good at plugging things in without having to look at the back of the unit. There you go. So you can see there, it just jumped straight to dual layer mode. And now we're back in straight into standalone Denon DJ world now.
Okay. And it controls only the. Can you change? Can you control layer A or B on the SE6000 or 5000?
Yeah. So what it does, it defaults to obviously B. But when you hit Shift and View on the SE, it flips the view depending on what you've got controlled, essentially. So let's say, for example, your LC is on the left-hand side. You can switch the waveform configuration, the deck configuration at the top. It's actually just cut off by the logo there, the virtual, where it says the launch there. If I just move this down just a tiny bit, you should be able to see this. So there we go. So if I hit Shift and then hit View and hold it, you can see they flipped between A and B there. So you guys might be able to see it if you're watching. You can see it just flips B and A back and forth. That's depending on the configuration, but it does default to layer B as soon as you plug it in, just for logistics sake and convenience sake as well. One sec, guys, my face camera's gone. I know you guys really want to see my face. One sec. There we go. There we go. So yeah, again, it can't really be overstated. Essentially, the whole idea of course, it's it's got Denon DJ written on it, and it's a layer control. But ultimately, at the same time, people do need to understand that there's a whole other side of this product, which is it's a deck controller, and there's been deck controllers in the past. Newmark V7, things like that. They're very versatile units, and they were appropriated by a lot of DJs. So whatever the DJ setup is, it will fit right into that in terms of Serato, virtual, or even AOS. So there's a lot of skills to tell with it.
We have a question. Ini bisa langsung ke laptop atau harus pakai Denon edisi Prime lainnya? Bisa langsung ke laptop, dan untuk ke laptop pakai software Serato, Virtual DJ, DJ Pro AI, dan juga bisa dipakai sebagai temennya SC6000, SC5000. atau yang seri M-nya juga. Am I correct in saying that, Matthew?
Yeah, I got the gist of what you were saying there. So in terms of connectivity, I think you were talking about with the laptop.
Yeah.
So yeah, one option you could have is actually quite cool. You could actually keep this into or hubbed into the SE as it is right now, into the back of the USB hub here. And when you plug it into Serato, that hub is then obviously feeding to the computer, so you don't have to use another USB port on your computer if you're using it with an existing SE 5000 or 6000. So you can save yourself a USB port in the Serato setup, because obviously with Serato you need a USB cable, and USB cable. But because of the hub, we can use the hub on the back of this even in Serato mode or virtual DJ mode, basically. So the normal way you set up the Serato hardware gear is the same way with this as well.
Okay, got it. We have another question. Apakah bisa dipakai di record box atau traktor? Can this be used in record box and tractor?
So right now, obviously the key supported formats are what we already spoke about. So obviously the Prime ecosystem, Serato, Virtual DJ, and Algorithm as well. There's been obviously talk from the tractor community about getting this to work, or getting this to map, I would say. Certainly, again, like with all Denon DJ, it's a case of we can look at anything. We can try and make anything possible, really. But again, when we listen to the community, we take it very seriously. So we may see that in the future. Cannot confirm at this stage. Recordbox, no.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, Matthew, go ahead.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, no worries. You had that kind of looking for a question face.
No.
You're like, there's
another screen behind me.
I know that face. That's your vetting the questions. Yeah. So I think essentially that's kind of the meat of it. Really, is a case of you've got so many different ways to use the product, and for the existing kind of Prime user, again, it can be a case of, I know people who are now just coming into the Denon Prime world, and they're buying just one player and an LC, really, because as much as they dig that dual layer, they want that extra control over it, but they don't necessarily have the budget for the two SEs. So they can use that to get full hardware control that they're used to as a DJ, but just not have to up their budget so much, basically. And again, I know some Serato DJs who they have been on controllers for, many, many years, and they've gone, you know what, right? I just want full-size jog wheels and control of a Serato. So I'm going to have my Serato mixer and then go for two LCs, because it's, it's at that price point where it's like, I can integrate that into my setup quite nicely.
So the jog wheels on the LC6000, they're the same as the SC6000, yeah?
Yep, 8.5. Same tension adjust, same everything. So you've got your wheel adjust here. And it's exactly the same hardware, same everything. Obviously, it's a little lighter because there's no, the drive bay, there's no screen, there's none of that internal processing, because it is a controller ultimately at the heart of it. So a little bit more lightweight, yeah. But you still got control over things like instant doubles and zoom as well. You can see as I use this, we've got the zooming waveform view.
Oh, nice.
Okay. Yeah. When we're in browse view, that works as browse as well. And we can still go back and forward between playlists and crates as well using the LC.
And you can load a track directly on the LC if you press load?
Yeah, for sure, yeah. If I go to, let's say, this here, and then drop in here. Now, it's not going to give you the load to deck option, because obviously the SC knows that this is dedicated to layer B. So as soon as I load this track, it's straight into layer B. And off we go, basically.
Okay. We have an interesting question here, which you might be able to answer. LC6000 apakah sama dengan teknologinya di SC5000, semacam jika lampu mati dia ada baterai untuk hidup? So does it have an internal battery?
It doesn't. No.
Doesn't, yeah. Okay.
No. It's a bus powered controller essentially. What you do have though is the power outlet option. So there is that, which again, in the instance of what I showed earlier, is going to need to be used for iPad or iPhone kind of situation with algorithm. But again, you know, if you want to map this to some third-party kind of software, whether it's tablet-based or anything like that, those are those things, again, where you still need the power. But the battery side of it, you know, it is a controller, so there's nothing internal going on. So, yeah, just USB and wall power.
Okay, so if the SC6000 dies right now, it has a battery, right? I mean, it has a UPS.
Yeah, well, with the SEs or the SE line in general, you do get a small time window before it completely powers down. And the reason for that is that's ejecting media safely before it shuts down. So you don't have corrupted SD card, USB, that kind of thing. Or in the case of the SE 6000's, SSD. But obviously once, if that happened now, this would still be on because I've got this plugged into my wall power, basically.
Okay.
I mean, I could take the power out now of the back just to prove it is bus powered. So if I just pull this here, there you go. So we're still on.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yep. So this is just running USB powered from the back of the SE6000M.
Cool.
Any more questions of that flavor?
Yes, not of that flavor, of another flavor. Apakah bisa digabung dengan controller dari Pioneer dan apakah bisa berfungsi dengan aplikasi record box? So, bisa digabungkan dengan controller dari Pioneer, Numark, dan lain-lain untuk aplikasi Serato, Virtual DJ, dan DJ Pro. Tidak bisa berfungsi dengan aplikasi record box.
Yeah, I think I get the gist of that question as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. So everything we've talked about, all those third-party applications, it's good to go. Tractor, can't confirm anything at this stage. We may see it in the future. I know the Tractor community are been quite excited by it. But yeah, we shall see. We shall see.
Sure.
Okay, cool.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
So yeah, that's I think we've kind of pretty much covered everything here, guys, as far as kind of what the LC does. Again, it's that kind of how we're building on the Prime platform in general is how we can obviously just keep going in the same direction of what we've always been doing, which is utilizing the current technology in the motherboard and the screen, seeing how far we can push that just using the technology that's already there. And something like this we can look at as like a peripheral sort of thing. But again, it just is that extra box ticked for the existing Prime user. But for the side of the Serato, well, for the Serato virtual side of things, it could be a case of, again, I want a 2-deck setup and a Serato mixer, but I don't have this kind of budget. I want, just the 1 deck to integrate into my current setup if I've got some kind of hybrid setup, or I want, 2 of these and 2 SEs, and again, if you're going big and thinking 4 SE6000s, here's now an option where you can go, I can get, something very close to that, but not spend the money on, 4 SE6000s, but you're still going to have exactly the same feel, same jog wheel, same hardware control, loop roll slicer, track skip, everything. It's right there. So it's enhancing the existing Denon platform, essentially.
Okay. So actually, when I first saw the LC6000, to be honest, I was actually judging it. I was thinking like, it's going to be weird, man, when I look at the screen on the other side of the table, right?
Yeah, it's
yeah.
Yeah, it's.
I was wrong, actually.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's interesting. When I first saw it, again, speaking as obviously someone who works for the company, it's like a case of I'm 100% living in this Denon dual layer world in my head all the time, because I kind of live and breathe it, Whereas something like this, I thought, well, I've been on this for so long, just doing layer and layer switching. Maybe I don't need that. But then, of course, as soon as I get mine, I start using it, I'm like, I don't really want to go back to just pressing layer now. I've got a dedicated jog wheel control and everything else control that I can do that with. Even though I got pretty good at switching layers very quickly and, getting the muscle memory down. Again, it was a case of, if it feels like a 6000, like an SC, then, you know, it's a case of, yeah, it's a win. And for me, obviously, same hardware, same jog wheel, everything works.
Yeah, when I tried it out for the first time, it didn't feel weird at all. It actually felt natural.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%. I mean, there's people, obviously, I'm sure we've spoken to many people who, when you tell them about dual layer, the first response from some people is, well, how does that fit in with me as a DJ? What does dual layer give me? And the answer is, like, it's whatever you want, really. There are artists that use the dual layer for, like I said earlier, simply just having auxiliary track underneath. If the worst case scenario, something happened to the player on the right, you've got a track to go on the left. It could be a case of you reserve the second layer for loops, a cappella chops, hot cue juggling, things like that. But this time, if that's your vibe, you've actually got a dedicated hardware piece for that rather than switching layers. So again, there's so many stories you can tell with the SE that may not be obvious at first sight.
So we have a question, and it's for you basically. Will we have LC6000M? Two questions on that actually.
Of course, yes, of course. Gotcha. Yeah, I can see that one. Naturally, I understand why people are asking that. Again, I'm going to give the same answer that I always do when people ask about future products and future updates. It's a case of, we listen to the community, you know, and if there's enough demand for something, we can maybe look at it. Again, we can certainly look at something in the future, but nothing confirmed right now.
Okay, another question on Tractor. Will we have an official mapping? Will you have an official mapping for Tractor Pro?
Yeah, again, I sort of touched on this earlier. It's right now, there's no official Tractor support. I know some of the Tractor community, like I can see here, DJ Yudi's been looking at it, and I know the forums are quite hot on the subject of this when it comes to native instruments, the Tractor forums and the socials. No official mapping right now. Again, we can certainly, you know, we're open to working with Tractor and things like that. It's a case of, if we see it in the future, hopefully for the Tractor users, we might see it soon. But again, nothing confirmed at this stage.
Yeah, 3 questions on that LC6000M, huh?
I assume that the most popular question would be either an M or Tractor, possibly. I would say.
Okay. So yeah, what's the weirdest setup that you've seen of the LC6000?
To be fair, it would probably be that one. Yeah, I saw on the launch week, there's a guy I know, DJ Ratzi. He was using the Prime 4 as the centerpiece and the Serato hardware. After the left, he had an SC6000M. After the right, he had an LC6000. So we have this gigantic kind of Prime setup, but all running in Serato mode, basically. And he did a few Twitch streams like that. So it was a case of, like, any which way around you can do it in Prime world and Serato world. It's definitely possible. It's quite something to behold. He's still got the VOD on his Twitch, I would say. DJ Ratzi, look him up on Twitch. RATZI.
Nice. So there's a lot of crazy setups you can do with it, right? Yeah. We just tried actually with what's the thing called? Newmark Party Mix.
Oh, okay, right, yeah.
Small thing. It works.
Yeah, totally. It's most at home if you're using it with a controller. It's most at home when you think about a 4-channel system, because some 4-channel controllers either have just a deck switch or they'll have the physical 4 faders. I think it just gives you an extra option. So if you've just got the deck switch option but 2 line faders, maybe sometimes some people feel that's a bit claustrophobic or something. And something like that just can expand on the controller massively, really.
Mm-hmm. Okay. We have another question. Hold on. Apa bisa tetap koneksi ke lighting sama visual LC6000? Can you connect the LC6000 for visual or lighting?
Well, it's USB. It's a USB device, so elements are, if you plugged it in to any software that accepts, you know, any kind of MIDI mapping or USB, you'll find that it reacts to MIDI messages. You'll find the jog wheel is the one where that requires the most kind of development mapping on our end. But again, these all accept, you know, these are MIDI messages that are being sent essentially. So it'd be interesting to see how someone would work it into like a lighting program and how it would MIDI map. But yeah, all those buttons are mappable in a MIDI sense. Yeah.
Okay. And we have one more question before. Let me out of this way. Can the SC6000M work with Record Box and DJI 1000?
Any Serato-based controller, it will work with. Any Serato controller, 4-channel, it can work with. So whatever your choice of flavor is for your Serato setup, your main controller, whether it's 1000, whether it's again an MC, whatever, it's going to work with your Serato controller. So you'll have a second pair of jog wheels in addition to your controller jog wheels.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think we'll head on to pricing then. Jadi untuk LC6000, great news, sudah available di Indonesia. Per hari ini, harganya di 9.999.000. Jadi LC6000 ini merupakan DJ controller yang multifungsi. Bisa dipakai dengan SC6000, SC5000, dan juga bisa dipakai untuk ekspansi DJ controller lainnya. Dan juga bisa dipakai sebagai temannya untuk iOS device juga. Dan bagi yang ingin order, bisa hubungi Denon DJ dealer terdekat. Banyak dari mereka hadir di sini juga. Jadi yang hadir di sini adalah Doms DJ, DaBeatmasta, DSX, Enigma DJ Academy, Electromagnetix, House of DJ, The Electromagnetix Store, dan The Master DJ Music Production Store. So I think kita ada waktu sedikit lagi untuk Q&A. Bagi yang ingin bertanya silakan. I think kita ada sekitar 2-3 menit lagi sebelum kita lanjut ke quiz. Akda, do you have any questions?
Can I pay it with third time terms of payment? This is pandemic, please.
There's exceptions.
Yeah.
There's exceptions. You need something to occupy yourself in the pandemic. So there's exceptions.
Yeah.
I think we can make an exception for Akda, right? He's the #1 DJ magazine right now.
Well, I just wonder what is SC and LC means. I don't know. It's only a code, or there is a meaning like a sentence or some words inside the LC or the SC.
Well, I could give a number of answers here, and I could keep people guessing. I could maybe say, smart controller. I could maybe say light controller, or I could maybe say a number of different things. Let's see what the chat has to say, and yeah, I'll see what they say.
Any ideas? Yeah.
I'm just gonna keep people guessing.
I know LC. I don't know SC actually.
We'll leave that on the cliffhanger. We'll just keep people guessing, because then it'll stay in their minds, the Denon thing. I'm like, not only do I need to know what that means, I keep thinking about Denon.
Good trick. Good strategy.
There you go.
I read somewhere on the forum it said like SC snooker player. No, sorry. Snooker controller. What? Okay, I think we don't have any more questions, right? Yeah, any more questions?
In 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. All right. Cool.
We're good. We are good.
All right, giveaway time.
Yeah, best bit. This is the best bit.
Giveaway
This
time.
was noisy the last time. This was very noisy the last time.
Yeah,
Very crazy, huh?
Yeah.
Okay. So jadi kita akan ada giveaway, merupakan special merchandise dari Denon DJ Indonesia, dan tentunya ada sedikit surprise lainnya juga. Nah, pertanyaannya cukup mudah, dan karena mudah harus lebih cepat ngetiknya. Yang jawab pertama akan menang. Kita mulai dengan pertanyaan paling mudah dulu ya. Oh, we have a question right now.
Biasa Indonesia.
Is there a DVS mode like Rain 12 MK2?
Well, I mean, the nature of the Rain 12 Mark II being that it is obviously vinyl based, the reason why we put the DVS on the Rain 12, or the Mark II, that option, was to put the Serato timecode signal in, so people could choose, especially turntablists, that different feel, because it is a different feel. You've got zero latency with USB. You've also got incredibly low latency with DVS, but it is a different kind of feel, essentially. Plus, that also sends the timecode to Tractor and virtual for the purposes of the Mark II. This is obviously the kind of non-moving platter, so it doesn't require that kind of thing put on it. But again, you know, if one day we see an M, you may see like a DVS code option on there.
Okay. For the moment, no, yeah? No.
For the moment, no. It's a USB plug and play.
Okay. All right, giveaway time. After, the honor is yours.
Okay, so gue mau nanya dulu, Saga. So we do this one question and then we announce the winner, and then number two, and then the winner, or just like we stroll along?
Number one, then the winner.
Okay, number one and the winner, right? Okay. Siap ya guys ya, semuanya ya. Kita kasih tahu nggak nih berapa pertanyaan? Nggak usah lah ya. Kita langsung aja dulu ke nomor satu ya.
Oke, langsung deh. Oke.
Okay. So we have question number one. Apa ukuran jog wheel-nya? Apakah ukuran jog wheel-nya LC6000 sama SC6000 itu ukurannya sama atau enggak di jog wheel-nya? Dan kalau misalnya sama, berapa sih ukurannya? Dalam inch ya, dalam inch. Gue ulang, pertanyaan nomor satu adalah jog wheel-nya LC6000 sama SC6000 itu ukurannya sama apa enggak? Kalaupun sama, berapa ukuran dalam inch-nya? Ada yang bisa jawab? Langsung Google. Pinter.
Hadiahnya ini nih.
Langsung Google. So the price kita akan kasih. Kok suara gue double-double nih? Hadiahnya ada satu buah Denon DJ lanyard. Nah, itu dia tuh. So gue ulang. Apakah sama ukuran jog wheel-nya LC6000 dengan SC6000? Apabila sama, berapa ukurannya dalam inch, dalam inci?
Udah ada yang menang nih. Bener nggak? Timingnya di gua sama lo sama nggak?
Udah ada yang jawab?
Dayani.
Karena gua nggak bisa monitor dari sini, tolong kakak Sagar untuk dimonitor.
Oke, we have Prihandayani W. Size 8
Prihandani, yes. Prihandani W, yes. Oke.
Alright, you want?
Gua tulis di sini ya. Nomor satu. Winner 1 Prihandani W. Prihandani W. Oh, salah tulis gua. Winner 1 ya. Prihandayani. Oke, pertanyaan nomor 2, langsung aja. Hadiahnya masih sama, ada lanyard dari Denon DJ. Apakah LC6000 bisa bekerja paralel dengan SC5000? Ayo. Gampang nih. Apakah LC6000 bisa bekerja barengan dengan SC5000? Ini panitia boleh jawab, Bang?
Boleh.
Panitia boleh jawab nih. Wah. So, ditentukan coba.
Boleh. Pak
Boleh ya?
Paulus
Yudi ya?
Kristianto bisa. Yes.
Yudi, oke. Nggak asik bener nih.
Di saya Paulus.
Bener nih.
Ya udah, abis ini panitia nggak boleh jawab
Abis
ya.
ini Yudi yang jawab. Abis ini Yudi yang nanya. Terus gue yang jawab. Abis ini lu
Kan ada cicitnya.
Oke, langsung ke nomor 3.
Oke.
Adanya masih sama, Denon DJ Lanyard. Dengerin ya. Bagaimana cara meloading sebuah lagu ke LC6000 ketika LC6000-nya terhubung dengan SC6000. Oke. Apa yang harus Anda tekan? Apa yang harus dipencet? Button apa yang harus dipencet untuk meloading lagu ke LC6000 ketika terhubung dengan SC6000? So how do you load a track on the LC6000 when connected to SC6000? What buttons do you have to press?
Gampang nih.
Yo.
Jawabannya ada di pertanyaannya sebetulnya.
I don't know. Can someone tell me?
Yeah, there we go.
Oke, winner ketiga. Setuju ya, AM ya?
AM, yes. AM Team Creative, yes. Load button. Simple as that.
AM Team Creative.
Right there.
Alright, we go straight to number 4. Hadiahnya masih sama, Denon DJ Lanyard. Dengerin ya, apakah LC6000 bisa digunakan dengan iPhone or iPad? Jika iya, pakai aplikasi apa namanya? So can you use the LC6000 with an iPhone or an iPad? If yes, what apps that we have to use? Okay.
Yes.
So we have the winner, Willy Iskandar, correct?
Yes.
Okay, Willy Iskandar. Winner number 4.
Winner number 4, Lanyard. Denon DJ exclusive Lanyard.
Willy Iskandar. Jangan lupa pajak ditanggung pemenang. So we straight to number 5. Next. Hadiahnya masih sama, Denon DJ Lanyard. Ongkir boleh. Ongkir ditanggung pemenang. Oke. Pertanyaan nomor 5. Sebutkan 4 softwares yang saat ini bisa bekerja dengan LC6000. Sebutkan 4 software yang saat ini bisa bekerja dengan LC6000. Name all of the 4 softwares that LC6000 works with. 4. We need 4.
Dung.
Ayo apa aja, ayo. Oke.
Serato DJ.
We have 3. DJ Pro. We have 3. Ayo satu lagi. Satu lagi, ada yang belum komplit nih. Satu lagi. Brutal DJ.
Oke, ada yang menang nih. Wahyu Adi.
Mana? Wah, gue belum dapet nih. Masih delay gue.
Oh, delay nih.
Gue delay.
Wahyu Adi. Serato DJ, Virtual DJ, Engine Prime. Yes, correct. Winner 4, winner 5.
Belum keluar di sini. Di YouTube belum keluar.
Masa sih? Di Facebook, from Facebook ini.
Oh, oke.
Facebook.
Pantes. So winner 5 ya. Winner 5 siapa namanya?
Wahyu Adi.
Wahyu Adi. Oke, lanjut. Kita ke pertanyaan nomor 6. Hadiahnya kita upgrade nih. Hadiahnya ada Denon DJ T-shirt. Yang kayak punya gue ya? Yang kayak gue pakai sekarang ya?
Enggak, yang kayak punya gue dong.
Wih, mantap. Gue basian kayaknya nih. Oke.
Enggak begitu maksudnya.
So the funny story is I'm wearing this shirt is like 5 minutes arriving before we on air. Oke, pertanyaannya adalah no worries. Berapa banyak deck yang dapat dikontrol oleh satu unit LC6000 di aplikasi Serato ataupun Virtual DJ dan juga DJ Pro? Ada berapa banyak deck yang dapat dikontrol oleh satu LC6000 ini di aplikasi Serato, Virtual DJ ataupun DJ Pro? Okay, we have a winner, I think. I repeat the question. How many decks that can one unit of LC6000 control in Serato, Virtual DJ, and DJ Pro? The answer is 4 decks. Yang mendapatkan t-shirt dari Denon adalah Andrew Kurniawan, correct?
Yes.
Dewan juri?
Sama di saya juga, Andrew Kurniawan.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Denon
Winner
DJ
number
t-shirt.
6, right?
Winner number 6, correct.
Andrew Kurniawan. Okay, so now we have lucky number 7. We still have the t-shirt. Masih t-shirt hadiahnya. Pertanyaannya adalah berapa banyak maksimal LC6000 dapat digunakan dengan iPad di aplikasi DJ Pro? So, how many
Are you there?
maksimumnya berapa? Kalau lu pakai DJ Pro di iPad, lu bisa pakai itu berapa LC6000 displaynya di dalam situ? Tebak-tebak gua manggis.
Udah ada yang belum?
Di Facebook ya? Belum. YouTube.
Dari YouTube.
Ini apa? Ini YouTube. Siapa namanya?
DJ Getty Adriel 4.
Ini gue lagi nonton YouTube. Di YouTube belum ada.
Ada 2.
Siapa lu baca
Ada 2
lagi?
YouTube-nya.
Getty anulir aja udah tua bilangin. Oke, DJ Getty ya. Lucky number 7.
DJ Getty, yes. Lucky number 7, yes.
DJ Getty. Oke, kita lanjut ke nomor 8. Nah, kita upgrade sedikit nih gabungan hadiahnya. Ada t-shirt dan juga lanyard yang tadi. Oke? Ada t-shirt dan juga lanyard untuk satu pemenang. Sebutkan 2 detail yang ditampilkan pada LC6000 center jog display. Apa aja sih yang ditampilin tuh? Kayak metadatanya tuh yang di tengah-tengah, di jognya, di jog dialnya itu, di jog displaynya itu, apa aja sih yang kita bisa lihat di situ? Sebutin 2 aja. Name 2 of details shown on the LC6000 center jog display that you can see.
Salah satu jawabannya ada di live streamnya actually.
I'm going to make it really difficult. You can see them.
Don't do it.
Oh, yeah, I know they're there.
We have one.
Please close it. Please bring a paper and then close it.
We have Fabulous.
Album artwork, nama lagu. Ayo. Wah, Andrew Kurniawan udah dapet tadi nih. Enggak. Kita cari dulu yang lain.
Bukan.
Artwork.
Yang menang ini nih. Fabi nih.
Udah ada.
Artwork
Udah
sama
ada.
angka loop. Ya.
Di mana tuh? Di Facebook ya?
Facebook, ya.
Winner 8 siapa namanya? Tolong di-spell, Om.
Fabi.
Feby.
Fabi R-I-S-I.
Feby.
Fabi, sebetulnya Fabi Rese tulisan, tapi gue nggak enak ngomongnya gitu kan.
Feby Rese. Oke, Feby Rese, Anda Rese mendapatkan lanyard dan t-shirt. Lanjut ke nomor 9. Selamat ya. Oke. Ini kita upgrade lagi nih. Makin upgrade loh. Makin kesini makin upgrade. Kita punya hadiah t-shirt, juga lanyard, dan eksklusif voucher 20% diskon untuk setiap pembelian LC6000. Tadi harganya berapa? 9 jutaan ya?
9.999.000.
Ya kan Om? Harganya 9 juta. Nah,
9.999.000.
kita mendapatkan voucher diskon 20%. Betul, tuh. Oke, ada Denon t-shirt, ada lanyardnya, dan juga dapat voucher 20% untuk pembelian LC6000. Pertanyaannya adalah, tombol kombinasi apa yang perlu ditekan untuk mengganti layer atau mengganti deck pada LC6000 ketika digunakan dengan software Serato Virtual DJ ataupun DJ Pro. Sekali lagi ya, tombol apa yang harus ditekan, untuk mengganti layer atau mengganti deck pada LC6000 ketika kita menggunakan software. Ada 2 tuh buttonnya, apa aja? Apa dan apa? So name the button combination to switch the layers or switch the deck on the LC6000 when we use the application or the softwares.
Ada yang deket banget. Belum deket sih, tapi iya. Yes.
Ya.
Sekarang.
Mila hampir.
Udah dapat
ada
ya?
satu. Oh udah, oke. Udah direvisi sama Mila. Oke, Mila April. Alright, the answer is shift and slip.
Itu
Mila April.
Ooh.
That was a hard one.
Yuk. Mila April, kamu pintar sekali. Kamu malam ini kemana? 9. Mila April. Oke. Nanti diantar langsung sama Sagar. Oke, finally we have the last question. Mantap nih. Hadiahnya adalah t-shirt. Lanyard, dan juga vouchernya jadi 40%, guys. Gokil. So we have 40% of discount plus lanyard and t-shirt from Denon. The question is, sebutkan. Wow. Ini seru nih jawabannya nih. Oke. Sebutkan 10 Serato DJ controllers atau mixers other than Denon yang bisa di pairing sama LC6000. Betul pertanyaannya begitu? Kakak Sagar?
Yes.
Oke. So name
Sebutkan
10 Serato DJs controllers atau mixers selain dari Denon yang bisa di pairing dengan LC6000. Gitu. Jadi nggak cuma harus sama Denon doang gitu. Ada banyak controller atau mixer yang menggunakan Serato, dan itu kita minta 10. Ayo, bisa di Google?
Bisa. This is the main gift actually. Denon DJ T-shirt, lanyard, sama exclusive voucher.
40%, guys.
40%.
Yes. 40% setengahnya loh, men. Sekitar 5 juta ya. 4,5 5 juta lah. Gokil, lumayan itu. Lumayan banget. Sisanya kirimin ke gue ya buat bansos. So we need 10. Apapun selain Denon, brand-brand apapun selain Denon yang bisa di pairing sama LC6000. Keren banget nih LC6000 ini bisa dicolok kemana-mana ternyata.
6, 7, 8, 9. Agung adalah 9.
Coba tolong dikontrol jawaban-jawabannya. Gua agak pusing ini Jujur ya, ini gue fair-fairan aja nih. Gue nggak pernah tahu apa itu Hercules Impulse 500. Gue pernah tahu sih Hercules zaman dulu tuh ada tuh kayak kecil-kecil gitu, dia lucu. Jadi Hercules itu masih ada ya, Sob?
Masih.
Oke. Tuh, udah gue bocorin tuh. 10 loh.
10.
Pokoknya
Aduh, Kurniawan benar. Cuman diketikin 10.
Pokoknya ya support Serato. Gimana nih?
40% dong.
Ayo dong, di Google
gampang.
dong, di Google. Iya, 40% nih, setengah harganya loh. 10 loh.
10.
Ingat ya, jangan dijual lagi. Kalau udah dapat 40%, tak dijual lagi. Nggak boleh, harus dimainin. So name of 10 Serato DJ controllers or mixers other than Denon that can be paired with LC6000. Wah, lagi pada nge-google ini.
X1850, 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 X1850.
Diapain nih?
Waduh, 10 ya, lumayan susah sih memang.
Yo.
Belum. Belum. Okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 from Brihan Dayani.
Prihandayani 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Roland DJ. Coba ya,
Perlu lihat. Dengan ini. Perlu dengan
Coba
apa namanya?
Ya.
Nama device-nya actually.
Okay.
5. You got 5.
So bro, are you still in KL, right?
Who? Me?
Itu siapa namanya?
Matthew.
Me?
Yes. You still in KL, right?
I think I just about heard that. Can you say that again?
1, 1, 2,
Hey, check 1, 2. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
6, 7.
What did you ask? Sorry.
Okay. Are you still living in the KL, Kuala Lumpur?
Am I in Kuala Lumpur?
At the first I heard you in KL. No, you in USA.
No. I'm not in Kuala Lumpur. No. I mean, to be honest, I'm in the UK and it's incredibly hot. So this is
You're in the UK.
Kuala Lumpur at the minute, mate. No, I'm in the UK, man. Yeah. So
Nice.
my
UK is my Ministry of Sound of London is my dream club. I never been there until now.
well, they have Denons in there. Now.
Ooh.
Yeah. They took some Denons a while ago now, so it's cool because the clubs that have a big booth, they can accommodate obviously both both kinds of setups. So that's cool, man. It's as far as the club and stuff goes, we've got so many artists on board now with the 6000s that we've just been working with really closely over the last year. So again, people ask about if Denons, how do we get them in clubs? But again, the artist demand is what we're really working on, because it comes down from there, artist demand. So that's what we're really focusing on, artists.
Nice.
6, 7.
Woo.
Whoop.
We're
So
close.
how's
We
the
have 8 out of 10. We have 7 out of 10. Serato, jadi pertanyaannya adalah name 10 Serato DJ controllers atau mixer selain dari Denon DJ yang bisa di pairing dengan LC6000. Kita kasih clue ya.
Ya.
Kita juga menerima jawaban untuk controller yang Serato DJ ready. Oke. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Okay, we have a winner. I think
Finally. Cool.
we have a winner. Coco B.
Right, let's have a look at this.
Maybe you can validate this. So she said DDJ 1000 SRT, Mixage Quattro, Roland DJ 808, 707, NS62, RMX 90 from Reloop, DJM 900 Nexus 2, Reloop Mixon 4, NS73, Zone 43C, Newmark NV2.
Yeah, this is a pretty comprehensive list. And again, this is kind of the cool thing about it. Whatever your Serato hardware, you can use the LC with. Particularly if you want to expand the jog wheel size. So if it's just a mixer you've got and you want some 2 dedicated controllers, deck controllers, cool. If you've already got the mixer, the controller, and you want full-size jog wheels to go with it, yeah. Good list.
Solid list, huh?
Okay, valid ya.
Okay. Congratulations all the winners. Thank you so much. Sebelum pamit, jangan lupa follow Instagram Denon DJ Indonesia, di mana kita actually ada surprise yang sangat keren pada akhir bulan ini. Dan juga jangan lupa follow, like, subscribe sponsor kami, Doms DJ, Dance Signal, DSX, Enigma DJ Academy, Electromagnetix, EMX TV, House of DJ, The Master DJ Music Production Store, and The Little MIDI Store. Big thank you bagi semua sponsor kami, sudah supportnya yang luar biasa sangat hari ini. Dan tentunya big thank you juga bagi yang sudah hadir sampai at the end of the show. Thank you so much for making this show very exciting. Stay safe, let's all taati prokes, keep staying positive.
Cool.
Excellent.
Matt, thank you very much. Sagar, thank you very much semuanya. Bye-bye. Stay healthy. See you on the dance floor.
Bye.
Ding, 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 ding.